The markets are taking an absolute beating as Trump calls Powell a major loser. We're going to talk XRP price along with our favorites. We have gold making a major move. Dow Jones down big time. Ripple, Swift, we'll talk about it along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning. Along with me going shopping, buying a little fantastic blue N64, girlfriend, what are you buying?
And I gotta be honest with you, I'm proud of the old crypto market because if you looked at the US stock market, Dow Jones down 1,200 points right now because Jerome Powell's a major loser. That's what Trump said. All that and more coming up, but first, you know who's the most important in my life? Who got the news during Easter? You did. Who got the news during Christmas? You did. Who got the news while I was on vacation in Guatemala? You did. Who's getting the news during the TARDIS? Means afternoon. You are. You, the viewer, matter most. BKNY says, love the way you prep your analysis with metals and oils first. Yeah, that's because of the whole store of value play, and I want to see if people are freaking out. When people are freaking out, gold skyrockets. Look at gold up $109 right now to $34.37. That's telling you that the world right now is like, yo, we need to park our money somewhere super boring. Thanks for the comment, by the way. Manny Kimeen dropping support on the channel. Thanks, Manny. Says, happy Easter, Klaus. Thanks for everything. Well, thank you for the time, for watching the channel. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the support. Minidog and Notice Me Lisping. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video. Yeah, seriously. Those of you that are really into the channel, you might want to listen at the end. It explains why I bought the fantastic blue N64 and... well, I'll just give a little bit of insight. Minidog, who hangs out with me in the upstate, says, all of my Spanish friends usually say buenos dias for good morning and buenos tardes for after lunch. Well done, and buenos noches for good evening. Buenos noches, senor. Love it. I'm going to hang out in some Spanish-speaking places this year again. I know, I love it. Robert says, Powell, jack off, is a huge USA problem. Still rigging the financial system for the overlords. Robert, love the enthusiasm, but there's a problem with your statement. Although Powell is in the United States, Powell causes financial problems for the entire world. Because you know what Powell and the Fed said? They might make money printer go burr again, spurring more inflation. Bitcoin sitting at 86,673. ETH is 1569. SOLANA 134. All XP's at 206. We're going to talk XRP and our favorites here at the end price-wise because holy crap, we got a lot to talk about. BNB at 595 while 8 is at 61.8. XLM at 25.1 while SWEE's at 217. Let's get into it. Dow Jones down 1,200 plus points. Right now at 1228 because of tariffs and the Fed future. So here's the deal with that. Fed rate cuts. We ain't getting them in the May meeting, okay? We're going to get them in the June meeting. But what we're worried about more is the Fed saying if they have to inject liquidity to the markets, they will. Are you serious? We're just now getting inflation to come down and you want to add more liquidity to the market? Maybe you should have cut rates sooner, bitch. Trump is right. Let's go to what he said on Truth Social. And by the way, all of this, it's linked in the description below. It's from Trump. Trumpito. Orange man bad. Trump derangement syndrome. Identifying blue-haired giraffe. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm just giving people shit. Preemptive cuts in interest rates are being called for by many. With energy costs way down, food prices, including Biden's egg disaster, substantially lower, and most other things trending down, there's virtually no inflation. That's actually not true. It's just the rate of inflation isn't as high as it was. See, I'm fair to both sides. I bring you the news, good, bad, happy, and sad. Prices are still up. They're just not going up as fast as they were. With these costs trending nicely downward, what I predicted they would do, there can almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing down of economy unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, lowers interest rates now. Europe has already lowered 7 times. That's 7 times in a row, by the way. Powell has always been too late, except when it came to election period, when he lowered it in order to help sleepy Joe Biden, later Kamala, get elected. How did that work out? Remember we talked about that? I said, hey, what would be the only time Powell would cut rates? And that would be right before the elections, and that happened. We were all talking about it. I remember even tricking the comments being like, yo, no rate cuts, and then we were joking about it on a live stream. That live stream had to have been around July, maybe August, and we were like, yo, What if they were to screw around and cut rates right before the election, and we were all like, no, that's too, like, shady, and then it happened. Yeah. So now, remember, Powell was the guy that raised rates 75 because he was too late to the party to begin with. And also remember that Trudeau, albeit the douchebag that he is, also was part of the whole Canadian government that cut rates. Dow Jones getting pounded. Gold up, which means investors are flocking to safe haven assets, but players out there that believe are still buying. I brought a story to you earlier about strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy. Soon they're going to be known as fucking bankrupt strategy. But Metaplanet is like, yo, girlfriend, we have BTC dreams, so we're buying more. Metaplanet, following a steep decline influenced by outside economic pressures, now is buying even more. Metaplanet acquired 330 BTC for $28.2 million at an average cost of $85,600 per BTC. Okay, they're in the red by $1,100. I guess that's cool. They now have 414 million worth, almost a half a billion BTC. That's 4,855 BTC for around 85,000 average. That's not too bad. Okay. Basically, what they're doing is they're stockpiling. They want to make sure that they beat inflation. That's cool. I have no problem with players sticking to their guns on this, right? Sticking to their plans. I'm only sharing this with you because as we have some players flocking to gold, this is the gold chart for the last 5 years. Tell me you don't wish crypto projects look like this. If I showed you this crypto chart, you would be like, bro, moonshot. You would say, this looks like a successful project. This is the chart of gold for the last 5 years. This shows you how much turmoil there has been in the market. And honestly, since the back half of 2024 on, turmoil. So that's Metaplanet. Now, Ripple rumor. Basically, it's the whole XRP and Swift thing. What was really cool about this is this little snippet in here. All things XRP pointed to Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road for $1.25 billion and the launch of the RLUSD stablecoin. Many in the XRP community believe that these moves signal a deeper integration with traditional finance institutions. The timing of these announcements. Basically, there's this big rumor that Ripple and Swift are going to integrate, and then David Joel Cat Schwartz said something like, we're not going to replace Swift, or we're not going to integrate with Swift, we're going to replace it. But listen to this, this is really cool. A major source of the confusion came in March 2025 when Watcher Guru's account was compromised. Watcher Guru is a massive account on Twitter, okay? During the breach, Post claims billions of SRP were locked in escrow and falsely suggested a partnership between Swift and Ripple. These claims were quickly debunked, but many believed a partnership is in the works. So again, a lot of the Swift Cup stuff, see, I told you, I'm lisping, I'm having trouble speaking. Again, I will talk about it at the end. Now, what's important about this is a lot of these rumors start with something, right? Maybe it's an account hack. Maybe it's some stupid hopium pumper pumping some bullshit out there. Remember the whole, XRP, $40,000 buyback, and that was all a scam. XRP backed by gold. Even David Schwartz said that that's not real. A lot of stuff like that, right? It always starts with some dumbass out there trying to pump their bags. Either way, it was cool that this person found the original thing, or one of the original things that came into March 2025 compromised account post. But as stuff breaks with this, I will be sure to share it with you, because remember, by now we were supposed to have announcements. That didn't happen. We were supposed to get one on the 16th, one on the 18th. It never happened. That's why I told you a while ago it's a rumor. Wasn't confirmed. Okay. This is important. I'm not going to share this in today's video. I'm going to share this in another one. This has to do with the Senate and crypto. This is super important because of the video I did earlier today. States' rights versus federal rights. Has to do with XRP being declared a security. But bro, Torres said, but bro, that don't mean shit. Because the federal government said, guess what? We're going to allow states to do what they want. We're going to step out of the way, let states do what they want with crypto, just like we do with cannabis. For those of you who do not live in the United States, essentially that means states' rights will take over where federal rights are going too slow. In cannabis, basically that means the feds step out of the way. So like in California, it's legal in the state. The feds stay out of the way. Same thing in California. So if states like Oregon want to be like negative in regards to crypto, there ain't shit the feds can do until they pass regs. So guess what? Senate, you better hurry the F on up. All right, let's talk XRP. Look, now we're starting to see some pressure, right? We couldn't hold that 215. Remember I had that high alert set? Well, we ain't anywhere close to that right now. We got pushed on down. Look at the Dow Jones, right? We got pushed on down. That's not good for the Dow Jones. Let's do this, okay? Let's go to the 5-day for Dow Jones. And actually, let's go to the 1-day so you can see what I'm talking about. That's the 1-day. That's not good. 5-day, not good either. XRP 7-day, okay, a little all over the place, right? We got through Easter, and then we kind of pumped on the early action on Easter, and then we kind of went back down. That's a lowercase p. That's not a capital P. Volume, healthy. All right, 2.7 billion. I mean, it's not melting faces or any crap like that, but it's healthy. And remember, players are going to want to launch products in your backyard as long as your volume is up there. Why? Because exchanges and players make money on healthy volume. That is a fact. So as long as XRP's volume stays up, relevant, it's good. Here, I'll give you a comparison, right? Let's go to cryptocurrencies. Let's compare it. Let's compare another one in the top 10, okay? So we're going to scroll down. Let's pick Cardano, okay? Random one right here. Cardano's volume, 641 million. So right now, XRP has got what, like 4.5 times the volume? So no wonder there was a ton of XRP ETFs filed versus Cardano. Now, go to another one that we like to cover in this channel. Let's go to Stellar. Stellar's right now ranked in 14th in market cap. Their volume, 200 million. Go back to XRP's volume and you're like, holy crap, that's like almost what, 14x the volume of XRP. So again, as long as your volume stays high, people are going to want to hang out in your backyard. Zoom out to the month for XRP and you see what? Tariffs, man. Tariffs brought us this pain train right here. We haven't got any tariff resolutions. We did get a 90-day kind of temporary reprieve on this. That's what brought us out of the basement right here. But we didn't get the full resolution. We still don't have any good resolution with China, so we haven't gotten into the good juicy price action. And we haven't had any really bad worsening of stuff, so we haven't got back into the buy zone. We're in the mez zone right now. The friend zone, per se. Right? XRP is a hot chick. We're a pretty decent looking dude. We're a 7 or 8. And right now, XRP is like, look, you're in the friend zone. I'll let you buy me drinks, but I sure as shit ain't gonna let you feel me up. So this pissin' match between Jerome and Trump is definitely affecting the market. And what's really crappy about that is Jerome is one man. No, not a blue-haired giraffe. No, Jerome doesn't identify as a fucking refrigerator or some shit like that. No, Jerome's not pregnant or something. No. One man has this much influence and power over billions and billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars. One man has so much control and influence over global markets. Look at the gold market. Now, it's positive, don't get me wrong. Gold is on the way up. Y'all know I'm a big stacker of gold and silver. A lot of you are too, right? I use my gold and silver to hedge against my risky crypto stuff, right? A lot of you do that, okay? So, I'm not too upset. Why? Because my shiny stuff is doing good. That's why I'm not too upset. But the problem is if Jerome wants to inject liquidity in the market and make money, printer go burr, and hold on a second, I got a little bit of a demonstration. He wants to make the money go strip club, right? Like that. Okay, but what are you going to do? Prop up zombie companies which should be dead to begin with? What are you going to buy stock of companies that just should have folded 5+ years ago? You going to keep buying JCPenney or whatever the bullshit out there? Come on, man. And that's the problem. We're just now starting to get the inflation numbers to come down. That doesn't mean that prices are getting better. It just means it's getting it's getting expensive, but not as fast of a rate. It's still expensive. Stuff is still higher than what we were paying 3 years ago. It's just not going as high as fast. That's kind of fun. So if we add more liquidity to the market right now, and it's money printer liquidity, that's not good, girlfriend. Then we'd what? Deal with more inflation like next year and we deal with this crap all over again? Come on. So yeah, that's not good. That's why the US market specifically are freaking out because we're like, oh my gosh, are you going to erode the strength of the dollar right now? What's important about that though is we did not see Bitcoin react to that. We didn't see the players go, yo, dive into BTC, strength is the store of value play. No, they said, yo, let's go into gold. Let's go into gold big time. And in fact, if I go into the gold chart right now, gold is up still $109 still right now. That's crazy. So the players went there. Now earlier I said, hey, look, I did a little bit of shopping. And I did. I bought myself a fantastic blue N64. Yeah, well, if you haven't noticed, I have a little bit of a talking, lisping problem. I talk sometimes with a little bit of a lisp. No, it's not my tongue ring. I know, that's what a lot of people think. No, I got a little bit of something wrong with my jaw. And so I got a little bit of a little oral surgery thing I got to do here. So I got myself some games because I'm obviously not going to be able to work for a little bit because I'm not going to be able to talk right. And hopefully this is going to fix some of my talking issues. I got a little bit of a nerve problem going on. Nothing big, nothing crazy. But either way, I'm going to bring the news up until I got to get the stuff done. And then when I get the stuff done, I'm going to take a few days off. I'm going to give y'all notice so that you can make sure that you get your news from somewhere because I sure as hell ain't going to be talking for a while. But I'll give you a heads up because that's my promise to you, right? I brought you the news while I was on vacation. I brought you news during Christmas. I brought you news during Easter. I brought you news during all sorts of holidays, even Thanksgiving. I cannot bring you the news, though, when I cannot talk. So the least I could do, though, is tell you when those days are so that you can be best prepared. I think that's a fair arrangement, right? And that's the whole point of this channel. Open communication, and that's the value that I bring to you. On days that I can't perform, on days that I can't deliver, I'm going to give you a very good reason why. I think that's fair. So, choo-choo what, everyone? Well, I'm going to go play myself some N64, my fantastic blue NT. Actually, no. I'm going to go play myself some Nintendo, because, like, I'm not playing Nintendo. I don't want to play the N64 today. I'm going to save that for when I have to, like, get, like, the serious stuff done. So, yeah. Choo-choo what, everyone? Hold on. I'll put on the sign, just so I can be cool. Hold on. Choo-choo what? Oh, it got brighter in here. Because of this. Choo-choo bitches.
About to drop the bomb, I'm the West Coast Don. Big fish in a small pond.
Danelle Dixon on stablecoin regulations. 1:17 p.m., September 20th, 2023.
Realistically, when do you think the U.S. will put some sort of framework around it, or when do you think this will be adopted at mass scale?
So the framework needs to happen this year. Year. We need stablecoin legislation this year. The U.S. doesn't do it this year. They've completely missed the boat. So that is going to happen, I believe, in the fall.